Is there anything you struggle with or find tough when it comes to newsletter production?
Yeah, for me, there's if you obsess around the audience and it doesn't grow, that's something that I think everyone gets hurt by. I struggled to grow it for years, to be honest. There's like 2020 to 2022 was really tough to grow it, and
Right.
obviously there was a lot of things going on, but that was really tough. And although I don't over obsess around subscriptions, I'd rather have it for 100 than 100,000. But I want people to look forward to the content. So, that I want people to want to, read it or print it off as a PDF and go away and read the analysis.
Yeah.
Finding stories can be quite tricky that people will want because it's so broad, it isn't super niche. Then, because I try and break through what's a theme, which is, 1 to 5 years impact, as opposed to a trend that's like just overnight or this week. It's kind of difficult to find something that will apply to 100, 1,000, 10,000, a million people. So trying to find that can be quite difficult. And also in 2020 to 2022, I had a bit of a love-hate relationship with it, to be honest, because I found it
Right.
a slog because everything had a negative undertone. And because the amount of content I consume to put it together, if everything's negative, it can also, influence my own mood, which I didn't want. So they're like three sides. And then the other side of it's more like mechanicals. So it's like the algorithmic filtering, which really annoys me, which means that
The
emails.
email inbox stuff.
So yeah, so Outlook, Yahoo, Google Mail, they'll put you into the other inboxes really quickly, and that kills your reads and then your deliverability. So however good your content is, you're being filtered out. So it's the same on on social networks. It's just email filtering. People don't talk around as much.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Danny, because obviously there's a lot of stuff going on about platform risk, right? Everyone's talking about um, Twitter throttling content, same with LinkedIn, and anyone who works in marketing will have heard some derivation of this thing. Get an email list because you own it. But you're right. No one talks about that platform risk in email and about the spam folder and about the promo folders and the rest of it. But it's a real thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and imagine the way I explain it to people is say you had 100 people because it's easier for maths.
Yeah.
If there were 100 people on it, at any one time, really good open rates are like 30% to 50%. Hardly anyone ever gets above that, but most
Okay.
frequently you're lower than 30%. But there's like that window between 30 and 50% that you might get. So I'm on 43% open rate, which is good. So people choose 43% of the time to open it, basically.
Yep.
But say it's 100 people, you're only ever really going to get it delivered to, say, 90 to 99% of them. And then 30% of those will open it. So although you own it, you're still being throttled in a way because of people proactively choosing to open it, or it
Yep.
went into another inbox that week, which then means that they don't have a chance to open it, or they didn't
Yeah.
look at it, or they just think you didn't send it. So it works against you. But I'd always say to people, if you've got a podcast or you're doing YouTube, try and get those email addresses and then send email, because when I had podcasts, that I knew that the open rate was massive. Like
Yep.
it's really good, and it really helped the podcast grow. And then the best hack I ever had was add it to LinkedIn as a new job, and then I had loads more people subscribe to it, and then therefore more listeners, right? But
Yeah.
what people seem to forget is that email is really disposable for a lot of people, especially on their own, like Gmail or Yahoo. So you
Mm.
fight against so many other things. YouTube's far more specific, so you can turn on the notifications, but most people don't. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say that if I was ever going to give anyone a recommendation, if you're going to do a newsletter or create your own content, always have something that you feel like you could reach out to them individually to invite them.
Yeah. You mentioned something a minute ago about open rates, and I wondered what your view was on how you go about improving that, testing that, working out what is good.
You can, if you were to do it at scale, so as a company, you change the type of delivery, the IP address, you do subject line A/B tests, which means you send a percentage to one, a percentage to the other, and if you have an emoji in it, it used to lift your open rates up. Basically, people
Yeah.
it would appear, it'd stand out in your inbox. But if you wanted to increase that now, it's about people opening it more, having better signals to those platforms to getting people to open it more often. So some people do a resend, which I don't personally don't recommend because it can impact you and can cost you money. But
Is that where you? Cause I get that every now and again from certain people. Where it's like, oh, you didn't open this email, so I'm sending it again.
yeah,
Presumably,
or
and
oh,
that's
something might have
something.
happened. Yeah,
Yeah, but you don't think that's a good tactic?
if you're at a scale, then and you don't mind spending money, then that's a way that you can do it.
Yeah,
I've never had success doing it from a personal perspective from my newsletters. Obviously, professionally, it's different, but um, personally, I've never seen the benefit. I've never benefited from resending. If anything, it impacts it because people might have actively decided not to open, and they're going to ignore you a second time.
yeah.
Therefore, you're going to
It's
drop
like a
out.
self-fulfilling prophecy almost, isn't it?
Yeah. So to give
So
you another example, so what a lot of other people do is they'll send a daily email and then they'll send a recap on Fridays or Saturdays, and it's a
yeah,
way to keep that engagement. But that's if you're bigger, you can do that. If you're smaller, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. But I if I dive into it really quickly. Like the professional creators, the people that are doing it for a living,
yeah,
they there's like 7 things that they do. So the first thing is have strong content but have personality. So that's what people buy into is the personality inside of the content, right? And
yeah,
then they do it via a newsletter or YouTube or other. But then they add a service. So they add like a podcast or a YouTube channel or shorts to try and
yeah,
capture your attention far more. Then they attempt to build what community, which is based on chat apps generally. So Slack, Telegram, Discord, WhatsApp, they build into it, and it can be invite only, or it can be like those people that join.
yeah,
Then it's like a paid component, so they go from paid, and then they add value really quickly. So whether that's access or exclusive content, they release it, and then it's growth, right? So it's collaborate to expand or cross promote to expand,
yeah.
and then if they're big enough, they do in person events. So a lot of this is it sounds overkill, but it might inspire people to either do more or be smarter about what they do, and that's based on the top percentage of creators that do it and move from doing it for passion into getting paid.
It's funny. So I mean, that's basically the playbook, right? For doing well at news. There was one I subscribe to. I get every day, the daily one, and you've just. I'm assuming from researching people like them, they are doing exactly everything you just said.
Yeah, I'll share a list of all the really good ones that I recommend to anyone, whether they're niche or a little bit broader. And they're really good newsletters for people to sign up for, especially if you're interested in the craft. They're
Yeah.
really good for people to sort of sign up for or read anyway.
Okay. Have you ever thought about packing it in?
The the
The
newsletters.
writing of newsletters. Yeah.
I thought about turning one of them into a TikTok and just creating it as a TikTok channel because you could probably talk it through and then you'd probably build a bigger viewership.
Which
But
one?
I think that's super disposable. Must reads is the one
Okay.
that's most applicable. But I don't.
Does it have?
I
Does it have to be one or the other?
no, but there's only a certain amount of hours you could do it. Plus, I'm a perfectionist with my own stuff. Although uh, I'm not sure I could spend hours in CapCut for a 3-minute video that might get 100 views and then one might blow up for the wrong reason. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
prepared for TikTok comments.
They'll be rating your TikToks 1 out of 10. It
Yeah,
might hurt
exactly.
more.